What's up, Packer fans? Welcome back to Cheesehead Talk. It's your boy Tramel coming back with another video. The Green Bay Packers host their very first home game of the 2019 season against the Minnesota Vikings. Let's talk about it. But before I talk about the Minnesota matchup, I want to piggyback off of last week's game against Chicago for a few seconds. And I got a chance to rewatch this game without all the excitement and without all the adrenaline going on. And I got a chance to see some of the flaws that we had in this game. I got a chance to see some of the problems that we had against Chicago. And that one huge problem that I think needs to be addressed is that offensive line. The offensive line really struggled in this game against Chicago. I think the tackles were great in the game. I think David Bakhtiari played a great game. He got roughed up on a few plays, but he held his own like he's going to do week in and week out. And Brian Bulaga, the right tackle, I think he held his own. He was excellent. He didn't give up a single pressure when Khalil Mack lined up on him. And Brian Balaga's going to hold his own week in and week out as long as he stays healthy. And then the center, Corey Linsley, he played good in this game. And he's going to hold his own week in and week out. So I'm not worried about the tackles in the center position. It's the guard play, the two guards, Lane Taylor and the new acquisition, Billy Turner. Those guys really struggled in that Chicago game. And it's not a surprise for Lane Taylor. He really shouldn't even be out there. Honestly, I didn't expect him to start in 2019 when the preseason was going on. I thought it was going to be the rookie's position, Elgton Jenkins. I thought Elgton Jenkins was going to be the starter for 2019, but they decided to put Lane Taylor out there for another year, and he continues to struggle like he did last season. Last year, I think he gave up 8 sacks, and I don't know how many pressures he gave up last year, but I know it was a ton. And he continues to do that now. And he's going to lose his job sometime soon. I'm calling it. Elgton Jenkins will be a starter sometime soon in 2019. But for Billy Turner, the new acquisition to the Green Bay Packers offensive line, his problem is being consistent. That was his problem in Denver, staying consistent. And I think he's going to struggle a little bit when we face top-notch defensive linemen. But he's a guy who can hold his own. And when he's at his best, he'll be fine. But it's just getting consistency from Billy Turner. But the guard play really struggled in that Chicago game. And we're really going to have to address that and make some adjustments. Especially with Lane Taylor. I think it's time to put Elgton Jenkins in there. But back to the Minnesota Vikings matchup. Minnesota, they start off the season 1-0. Last week, they destroyed the Atlanta Falcons on their home field, 28-12. And Kirk Cousins only threw 10 passes in this game because they got the run game going. The run game was excellent for Minnesota against the Atlanta Falcons. Kirk Cousins went 8 for 10, 98 yards, and 1 touchdown. And Dalvin Cook, he played amazing in that game. He had 21 carries for 111 yards and 2 touchdowns. He really destroyed that Atlanta defense. I think some of it had to do with Dalvin Cook's running, and then some of it had to do with Atlanta's defensive line. That defensive line is terrible over there in Atlanta. And then the second string running back, Alexander Madison, he had a big game. He had success running the football. He had 9 carries for 49 yards. So they really ran it down Atlanta's throat last week. And that's the reason why Kirk Cousins only had 10 passing attempts. And I don't think he's going to have 10 passing attempts against Green Bay. I think he's going to have much more when they come to town in week 2. And then for the receivers, Adam Thielen and Stephon Diggs. Thielen had 3 catches for 43 yards and a touchdown. And then Stephon Diggs only had 2 catches for 37 yards. So not much going on in the receiving game due to the success in the run game for the Minnesota Vikings in their week 1 matchup against Atlanta. Now you look at their defense. Their defense was excellent. They had 4 sacks in this game, 2 interceptions, and a forced fumble. So they forced 3 turnovers in that game. And then they only allowed 73 rushing yards in that game. Only 73. And a lot of that had to do with getting to a fast start and getting a huge lead early in the game, which made Atlanta a one-dimensional offense in this game and forced them to throw the football. They really looked impressive on both sides of the football in this game. and they're going to be a very tough test for us in week 2. So let's talk about some things that we have to do in this game on the offensive side of the football. Number 1, we have to put points on the board. 10 points in this game is not going to cut it. If we put up 10 points in this game, we're most likely not going to win. Also, we have to run the football. We have to feed Aaron Jones the football and pick up yards in this game. Minnesota has a very good run defense. It's not as good as Chicago's, but it's pretty good. But I think in this game, we'll have more success running the football, and we'll see a few big runs in this game, unlike we did in that Chicago game. Another thing we have to do, we got to get some quick passes. Aaron Rodgers has to get the football out of his hands in this game. I need to see a lot more short and quick passes. Some dink and dunks to Aaron Jones, dink and dunks to Jamal Williams, and some quick passes to Devontae Adams and Marquez Valdez-Scantling and Jimmy Graham. Also, the number 2 option has to show up in this game, whether that's Jimmy Graham, Marquez Valdez-Scantling, Geronimo Allison, who didn't do anything in that week 1 matchup against Chicago, Robert Tonyan, whoever the number 2 option in this game is, they're going to have to show up. Another thing, we have to avoid 3rd and long because Mike Zimmer loves to send the blitz, and he's very successful at doing so. So we're going to have to get some good yardage on 1st and 2nd down. We also have to convert on 3rd down. Last week against Chicago, we went 2 for 12 on 3rd down. That's 16%, which is totally unacceptable. That's not going to win this football game if we do that again. So it's very important that we get 3rd and short situations so we can get an easier chance to convert on 3rd downs. Now on the defensive side of the football, some things that we have to do. We have to stop the run. I think that's the most important thing, stopping the run. If we could stop the run in this game, I think we have a very high chance to win. Another thing, I think Kevin King needs to start in this game. I know last week in that week 1 matchup against Chicago, they gave him limited snaps because of his injury. They wanted him to ease back into the rotation, but I think now is the time that he needs to start. We're facing Stephon Diggs and Adam Thielen, and last week with Tony Brown, Allen Robinson had his way with Tony Brown. And with Adam Thielen and Stephon Diggs, they're better receivers. They're quicker, they're faster, they run better routes, and that's a tougher task for Tony Brown. So if he struggled with Allen Robinson, he's definitely going to struggle with Stephon Diggs and Adam Thielen, whoever lines up against him. So I think it's very important Kevin King is the starter because last year in that week 2 matchup before Kevin King got hurt, when Adam Thielen or Stephon Diggs lined up against him, he held his own. He did a very good job before he got hurt. So I think it's important Kevin King starts. Also, we have to get pressure on Kirk Cousins. I'm not sure if this Minnesota offensive line has improved in the pass protection since last season because they only threw the ball 10 times. They gave up 1 sack. But I'm not sure what they're going to look like when they throw the football 30 to 35 times. So we'll see this coming week if that offensive line for Minnesota has improved a little bit or not. But if it's anything like it was last season, we can definitely get pressure and get to Kirk Cousins. We have to force early 3 and outs. I think it's very important to get them on and off the field quickly. Also, we have to force turnovers. We're in front of our home crowd, so I think it's very important to force turnovers. That'll give us a lot of momentum, and that can get the offense going. So those are some things that I think we have to do against Minnesota in this week 2 matchup. And if we could do a lot of those things that I just named, we're definitely going to win this football game. Now, a lot of people are totally discrediting what the Green Bay Packers did on the defensive side of the ball last week against Chicago. A lot of people are putting the blame on Mitchell Trubisky for the Bears only putting up 3 points. A lot of people are saying the only reason why the Chicago Bears put up 3 points was because Mitchell Trubisky is a bad quarterback. A lot of people are saying it had nothing to do with Green Bay's defense. So they're totally discrediting what Green Bay did on the defensive side of the ball last week with the 5 sacks and the numerous amount of pressures that they got on the quarterback. So I think this week is the chance that we prove those guys wrong. We have a big test in front of us in week 2, a very good offense that we're facing. They have a good quarterback, a good running back, and 2 elite receivers and 2 good tight ends. So we'll get a chance to see if this defense is for real or not. People think we're going to prove a lot of people wrong that are doubting us on the defensive side of the football. But my prediction for the game, I think the Green Bay Packers are going to get a home victory in front of their home fans with a score of 24-17. I think our offense will play much better than they did. I think it'll still be a little sloppy, but we put up more points than what we did last week. And we give up a few more points than what we did last week. But we're still going to have a strong performance on the defensive side of the ball. I think it'll be a very good game. And the Packers get the victory and improve to 2-0 and 2-0 in the division as well. But that's my preview for the Green Bay Packers versus the Minnesota Vikings for week 2. Let me know what you guys think in the comments section. Who's going to win the game? Give me your score predictions and what you would like to see in this week 2 matchup against Minnesota. Also, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, share the video, and also follow the social media on Twitter and on Instagram at Cheesehead_talk. Again, that's Cheesehead_talk. Go Pack, go.